to the Gym Owners Fitness Business Podcast, proudly supported by MyZone and Fitness on Demand. Today, I'm speaking to Justin Tamsett. Justin is the CEO and founder of Active Management and also the Fitness Business Podcast. And of late, he is the CEO and founder of a new boutique model called Mystery Shopping. Now, mystery shopping alone scares me, but Justin is going to put us all at ease today because that's our topic, because that will be his roundtable at the Ignite Fitness Business event to be held on September the 14th in Melbourne. Good afternoon, Justin.
Hi, Mel. How are you?
I'm really, really well. I hope it's a lot warmer up there as opposed to here in Ballarat.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. This global warming thing's going pretty good in the northern hemisphere, but it's dry in the southern, but still not particularly warm.
Well, we've had a lot of ice over the last couple of days, so hopefully spring is not too far away. But let's get on with our conversation today. I jumped on the website. It's absolutely amazing. You've got some terrific testimonials on there from Anytime Fitness, so congratulations on those. What I was most intrigued about was that you do over 1,500 calls per year that are mystery shopping. So let's go to the start. What is mystery shopping? And tell me about those 1,500 calls.
Well, I think it goes back to when I was a club owner. I was always intrigued to know why there were certain results that our salespeople were telling us. And I was trying to work out kind of, is it them? Is it me? Is it my marketing that's not giving us qualified leads and that's impacting closing? In those days, we had impact sales training that was training our sales team, but numbers weren't shifting. And so I guess from a quality control perspective, as a club owner, I started to get just my mates to come in and pretend to join the gym. And that's where it all started. And we're now nearly 15 years later, we have mystery shopping for fitness businesses. We do incoming calls, email inquiries, walk-ins, and then we do a thing called the ESP, which is the entire sales process, where we do a call or an email. We do we take an incoming call from the club. We book a tour, we do the tour, we don't join, and then we look at the follow-up process. And I guess it's subjective, but it's also an objective way to be able to give feedback to owners on what's happening in their sales process, literally happening, not what in theory should happen, but literally what's happening.
It frightens me. Mystery shopping frightens me. I have to be, I've got a great team. I know I have, but I also know that every now and then they forget to do this or do that with some of the consumers that come through. Perhaps they don't do the tour. They let them walk around on their own, or they might be speaking to somebody over the counter and the phone rings out. Can you tell me what is the actual process? So as a club owner, I engage you guys to come and mystery shop my club. What is the process from the moment I make that decision?
So the first part is we have a conversation between our general manager, which is Lisa, who'll be at Ignite, and she would sit with the client to really find out what the client wants from that mystery shopper experience. Are they looking for ways to improve the sales process? That might change the template of the report that we give. Are they looking at a way to reward the staff if they actually do 60% of the process? So it's not always about finding out what's going wrong. You can use the process to reward staff for doing the right thing as well. So once we've got that template in place, or for the report, we then bring in a mystery shopper. Sometimes clients tell us we really want someone who understands the sales process in a club. And sometimes they tell us we really want somebody who has no idea of the sales process. So based on that, we then find our mystery shopper. They would then call the club, email, or visit the club and go through the process. They then complete the report, and then the report is returned to the owner We break the report down to kind of, for simple terms, the basics, then the advanced, and then the super advanced on what expectations would be for each of those levels. We don't do any sales training. That's not our role. Our role is simply to be able to give back to the club owner a report on what happens when that prospect comes in. Now, some of the data that we find, we have one client, Mel, where she was sure that she needed to spend more money on marketing. She was 100% sure. She's like, I'm not getting enough leads. And I'd seen her marketing and I thought, that doesn't quite make sense to me. So I said to her, why don't we mystery shop your club and just see what happens? So we rang her club 10 times. Out of the 10 calls that we made, 3 of those calls were written down and recorded somewhere in the club. 5 of the calls were actually appointed. But of those 5, only 3 of them were written down. 2 were appointed but not written down anywhere. So she worked out, well, actually my marketing is generating me enough leads, but I've actually got a problem with my team recording things and the behind the scenes process, I guess, more than anything else. So that's one example of where we were able to help a club. Another one was we had a club and it was a council facility, and we called them in March 2022, and they said, and they didn't answer the phone. So we got through to their voice message for their club, and they said, we're currently closed because of the government regulations owing to COVID. And then so all of a sudden we're like, holy smoke, and our mystery shopper's like hitting this panic button and contacts Lisa and says, I rung the club's closed because of COVID. I didn't know clubs were closed because of COVID. But it was an old voice message. And so we're able to go straight back to the council facility and say, hey, we just got this message. And they went, we had no idea that was even still there. So it's fascinating what you pick up, and it's not necessarily what you would expect when you start mystery shopping these clubs.
So let me ask you then, what do you think of clubs having a voicemail on their front desk?
As long as it's up to date, that's a good thing.
Of course.
I don't have a problem with it. I think one of the biggest challenges in our industry, and you would know this more than anyone else because you work on the reception in your own club, is that if you get an incoming call at 5:25 and there's a 5:30 class, it's very difficult to be handing out lockers, meeting and greeting members, and yet give that incoming call 100% of your attention. So from a logistics perspective, that's where you need a second phone, or you need an office or something like that to occur. But as an owner, you might not understand that until you did something like mystery shopping and you say, can you call the club 10 minutes before a class is about to start? I want to see how the team handle that. Or even you get a walk-in at 25 minutes past. You mentioned earlier, like some of the testimonials that we've got on our website from Anytime. Is one of the challenges with an Anytime club is that the manager could well be handling a cancellation and then a walk-in comes in. And so the one minute they're wearing the hat trying to save somebody, and then the next minute they're trying to work out how they're going to sell, and then they've got to make sure these two people don't talk or we're in trouble. So again, from our perspective as a mystery shopping company, we can tailor almost what time of day we want our mystery shoppers to go in for owners to be able to see how do their managers or how do their team handle inquiries and sales at a busy time or a quiet time, to be able to make sure that they've got the best opportunity of getting that prospect to join.
Yeah, I know that like in the peak hour in my own club, my team seemed to prefer conversation with the people that are in front of them as opposed to picking up the phone when it rings. Multiple times I've said, do you want me to organize a answering machine, voice message, and then you can pick up the call? Their concern with doing that is, well, what happens if we forget and the person's left a message? So we're sort of like, it's a bit of a discussion in the club at the moment about, do we or don't we? I'm going to actually look into, and you might be able to help me with this, if there's actually software that can take the voice message and then flip it through, onto an email that comes straight through to the club or straight through to the Facebook. Because something else that we've noticed too, we get a lot of Facebook messages asking us multiple questions. And sometimes, as you know, if you're teaching classes as I do, and you're not able to get onto that Facebook message for a couple of hours, wouldn't it be great to have some sort of app that push that message across to your email, so perhaps the frontline people can answer it straight away?
With the phone, I think there's a software using like a VoIP number that would do that for you. It's not your standard Telstra number. You ring through the internet and then it would, for want of a better description, transcribe that message and shoot you an email. I think the key, and interestingly enough, we've just done a mystery shopping for a national franchise brand, and the brief that we got from that brand was, we need you to inquire through the website, and we have to know how long it takes between you hitting submit on the website and getting a phone call back, because they wanted to know what that time difference was. And so if you think about the example that you just gave of an incoming call, leaving a message, how long's that time frame could really determine when or how that person joins with you. And I know Steve from Impact has got some great data on how quickly we need to respond to our messengers, Facebook Messenger or whatever platform online that they're inquiring through, and that we have to do it as quickly as we can. It's not always possible, but any automation certainly helps.
Yeah, it's very hard to respond straight away, especially if you've only got one person that perhaps looks after the Facebook page and they're out on the floor with a client, or like myself, you're teaching classes. There can be, like I said, an hour or an hour and a half before you can respond to that. I also find with the website inquiries, when they come through on the website inquiries, so sometimes there's some very unusual questions, or they might be asking you when a promotion ends, and I'm guilty of it. You just go straight in with an answer without saying, do you want to come into the club? So I think we're all a little bit guilty of not giving our inquiries enough love. I think it's something that everybody in the industry probably really needs to work on. When you go and mystery shop and you actually do the walk-in, what are some of the things that you look for? Is it just about the reception desk, or does your shopper walk through the club, visit the amenities, look at the group fitness timetable? What are some of the things that you do?
Well, we can do anything that the owner wants us to do. I would suggest that the most common is the amenities. We often get asked by owners, can you make sure your mystery shopper asks to see the change rooms or the locker rooms or the bathroom and determine whether they're actually clean? Another one that we get asked a lot is, did the staff member connect you, introduce you, acknowledge any other staff that are working at the time? So as they're touring you through the club, are they introducing you to a personal trainer? If there's another staff member coming by, is there an introduction? If it's group fitness and the person's got a free pass for a class, is the prospect then walked to the room, introduced to the instructor, and then met after the class, or just kind of sneaks out of the club without anyone seeing them? So it can be tailored around whatever the owner's looking for. But I would suggest, certainly post-COVID, the number one thing that owners are asking from our mystery shoppers is, from their perception, was the club clean?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the most common ask of you, is the club clean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's more important than the process over the counter.
Oh, no, sorry, that's in addition. So that they still want to know what happened in that sales process.
That's secondary. Yep.
The process side of things, but then they also want if I had to say what's the feedback from the mystery shopper for the perception of what they see in the club. We get asked a lot about cleanliness. We've got one question on our template, which we've had for years, is the are the notices on the notice boards up to date?
That's true.
So again, when with our mystery shoppers, when they're going into clubs, they've usually done it several times, so they know what they're looking for as well. And Lisa's given them a pretty good brief that with this particular club, this is what you need to be looking for.
So with the roundtable happening on the 14th of September, what are some of the resources and tools, and what are you and Lisa going to be discussing with the delegates that will be there?
Well, we thought we'd start with what do our mystery shoppers love when they come to visit a club, and what really aggravates them. And I'll give you an example. Sometimes I go in and mystery shop clubs. I went into one in Melbourne, and you walked into the waiting area, and I could see into the office where the only staff member who was working at that time was working, and she is tapping away on the computer, and she looked out and she saw me and she kept tapping. And I'm like, hello, I'm an inquiry. I'm a prospect. I'm a potential person that might join. And so that's the sort of stuff that we then can feed back to an owner. So at the roundtable at Ignite, we're going to share with the things that our mystery shoppers absolutely love when they walk into a club or when they're on the phone. And then we're going to share the things that are going to be easy fixes for club owners to be able to walk away with and go, oh, I could fix that in my club. Oh, I could do that, and just make sure that my team are consistently doing that when a prospect comes in.
That sounds really, really cool. Now, I've got one more question before we close the podcast today. Tell me about the entire sales process, because you've got 3 parts on the website. You've got the actual call, you've got the walk-in, and then you've got the entire sales process. What's that all about?
So that's where we roll it all together. So in theory, it would work that I would call the club takes the incoming call. I would either call or email the club. And then I go to the club and I have a tour. I don't join, and then we look at the follow-up process. Sometimes, depending again on the owner, this is why it's so tailored. It's not one size fits all. It's one size fits one. Sometimes we don't show up for that appointment and we see what the follow-up process is. We rebook, then we show up, and then we don't join, and we see what that follow-up is from there, so that we can take in a report the full journey that prospect would go through to be able to give that to an owner. And that, to be honest, I actually think that's better value these days than just the calls. But I think it's pretty cool.
I like the no-show. That's very sneaky.
Do you know, speaking of sneaky, I should tell you this. One of the call inquiry scripts that we use is we would call the club and we would say, oh, hi, Mel, I'm just wondering, do you have a body pump class on tonight? And whoever answers the phone goes, yeah, we got a body pump class on tonight at 6:30. And we teach our mystery shoppers to pause at that point to see if they say anything else. And then we say, oh, so you've got a body pump class on tonight at 6:30. And then pause, wait for this response. And the response generally from most club staff members is, yeah, I just said we do, in the tone that says, are you not listening to me? Are you dumb or stupid? But very rarely are we asked, are you a member at the club?
Yep.
So what we like to be able to do both at a walk-in stage and a call is what I call a soft inquiry and a hard inquiry. A hard inquiry is, can you tell me about membership? And a soft inquiry is, do you have kettlebells? Do you have a class on, or do you do massage there, or whatever the case may be? And we're waiting for that staff member to be proactive and say, are you a member?
Okay. I've got another question. I know we're coming to the end of the podcast, but I do want to ask you this. So if I said to you, Justin, I want you to do a competitive analysis on all of these 10 clubs that are in my community, and I want you to mystery shop them and tell me what their strengths and weaknesses are, so that I can then have a look at, and obviously get you to mystery shop my own business, so that I can then have a look at my own business and then go, this is what they do better than me. This is where they're weak. This is where we're strong. Do you do that?
Yep, we could do that. Absolutely.
Perfect. And would you do that for independents or just for franchise chains?
Oh, no, we do independents. Yeah.
Perfectly. So if somebody wants you to do a competitive analysis in their community, where's the best place for them to get in touch with you?
We have the world's longest URL, mysteryshoppingforfitnessbusinesses.com.au.
I did have that written up there, and I was like, you can do that one. So you heard Justin, mysteryshoppingforfitnessbusinesses.com.au. That's the place. Go have a look, and then perhaps mystery shop Justin and see how long it takes for him to get back to you when you inquire about having himself and Lisa coming out, perhaps and doing a walkthrough, or perhaps doing the call, or the entire sales process. Now, Justin and Lisa will be at the Ignite Fitness Business event Thursday, September the 14th at Crown down in Melbourne. Now, you can grab your tickets. All you need to do is go to ignitefitness.com.au/registration, and hopefully we're going to be able to get some new clients for JT and Lisa, because I think every club can benefit from the mystery shop and the walkthrough, because as you said, there's a lot of benefits to it. You're not there to find the faults, you're there to help improve the team, and when we improve the team, we create bigger and better profit for our club owners.
That's exactly right. We can't wait to come down. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Congratulations on all the effort to set this up, Mel. It's a big job.
It is a big job, and it's a one-person show with the world's greatest graphics designer being Jack Lee. So thank you for being on the show today, Justin. I'm going to drop all of JT's details below. So as I said, do jump on their website, have a look. It's a very cool product, and perhaps make an inquiry and get the guys out to mystery shop your club.